Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Sports Extra. I'm your host Ahmed Nawaz with the latest roundup of sports today. Let's take a look first of all at what we're discussing. Of course, it's a lot to play for now when we talk about Pakistan cricket. There's a lot of happenings that we will be discussing with you in detail. So first of all, Pakistan's tour to South Africa. The team has arrived in Cape Town for their second test match. They're already 1-0 down in the series, but Pakistan is hopeful for a comeback as well. Now the second test is to be played from tomorrow onwards. Of course, we lost the first test by 2 wickets. It was a very close margin test match which we should have won. I don't think could have won, we should have won. So I think that would be the case, but the captain Shan Masood is in a lot of pressure and scrutiny at the moment. Certain quarters are now talking about his future as not only the test captain for Pakistan, but his very place in the test side is also at large. So we'll talk about that as well. Then of course we move on to the Qazi Azam Trophy's final that is underway between Sialkot and Peshawar at the UBL Sports Complex. Interesting season it has been, so we'll talk about that. And Sialkot, Peshawar both have had a stellar season of this year's Qazi Azam Trophy as well. Sialkot of course won the toss and chose to field first, so that was an interesting decision as well. Then we move on to the Brisbane International Tennis where Novak Djokovic and Nick Kyrgios have lost to Mektic and Venus in the doubles. Mektic and Venus would be winning after 3 intensive sets in this close encounter as well. Elsewhere we'll talk about Kimberly, who's shocked Amanda Anisimova with a victory as well, and Victoria Azarenka beating the local favourite Maya Zhang in 3 sets as well. So we'll give you the update about the Brisbane International Open Tennis Tournament. Then we move on to the English Premier League, give you all the details, all the fixtures and the team table list as well in detail. Right, now discussing things in detail, time now to introduce the guests. First of all, joining us in studios is first-class cricketer and expert Kashif Majid. Assalamu alaikum Kashif, how are you?
Walaikum salam Ahmed, perfectly all right, thank you.
And we've also been joined by fellow anchor and expert Syed Mohammad Awais. Assalamu alaikum Awais, how are you?
I'm good. Walaikum salam Ahmed, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much for joining us. So it is of course Pakistan versus South Africa, and I think we're bound to see what it has installed for us as well. So you take a look at this report and then of course we will be continuing. But before we go on to the report and discuss things in detail, I must ask the very pertinent question right now which the entire nation is asking, and that is the future of Shan Masood as a skipper. And now a lot of quarters are discussing that maybe it's time now that Pakistan moves on to a new test skipper, and his very much place in the side as a batter is also something that is being questioned. Now 39 test matches I think are a good enough number to gauge anyone for that fact as well. But Kashif, what's your analysis going into the second test match? Shan Masood must be under somewhat pressure.
A lot of pressure, immense pressure, not primarily as a skipper. I must say the pressure of being a specialist batter in the side and not performing is the utmost pressure he's now feeling, because when we talk about 30 test matches with an average of under 30 and we consider Shan Masood as a top order batter, maybe an opener or one down batter, and this is just not the statistics anyone wants to have in his entire career. And fortunately for him, he was given so many opportunities, and the last one came as a skipper of Pakistan's red ball team, and with Jason Gillespie not there, because the camaraderie starting to develop between Jason Gillespie and Shan Masood, and now when he is not here and Aqib is at the helm of the affairs, most probably Shan Masood has to prove his worth as a batter, because when we talk about the combination of the team, the composition, this is becoming the mantra that we are playing one batsman shot, and to fulfill that duty, we are coming with an extra batter down the order, like most probably Salman is batting at 7, and that 7 is a slot where you can come up with a fast bowling all-rounder which was lacking previously. So there are so many things when we talk about Shan Masood, and I think, as you said, this test will define his future.
Awais, how would you analyze Shan Masood's own performance right now? It's under a lot of scrutiny at the moment. Some visual optics tell us as well that not everything is going in the right direction. This test match, if Pakistan would have won, it would have been a different debate. But right now, those numbers are being talked about a lot, where he's captained Pakistan in 9 test matches. He's lost 7 of them and has won just 2 against England. And that too, where majority of the credit goes to the pitch and Sajid Khan and Numan Ali.
Outing in South Africa of Pakistan has never been easy. If you just remember before this, when Pakistan played in South Africa, we just won that last, if I'm not wrong, in 2007, where you had Shoaib Akhtar in his full peak form. And if you talk about the ground where Pakistan is going to play the next match, 4 of her test matches have been lost by Pakistan. So Shan Masood obviously will be thinking that to change that, what's happening over there, because unfortunately, if you talk about Shan Masood, I remember many of them used to speak that he's not into a cushion zone where he actually has played all his life as a first-class cricketer. He's played for county cricket as an opener. So he was promoted as an opener, But if you talk about his captaincy, Ahmed bhai, I personally feel that he's lost. When it's a tough situation going on in the Pakistan team, when you have to make some changes, when you have to quickly think about some new change coming up, he's completely lost. I mean, if you just see him in the field, if you just look at his face, he's completely lost. I personally feel so. When you have got your ex-captain in the team, you have got your present ODI captain, who's the captain of ODI, Mohammad Rizwan. It's not a bad thing. You can consult them, you can speak to your senior players, get the best result out of it. But again, I would say that he's completely lost. It's because if he just his own performances, he hasn't not been performing well as a captain, as a skipper, as a batsman too. Because when you're sitting in a team meeting, when you have got team meetings, when you have got openers sitting with you, different I would say team meetings, as a captain you sit in every meeting, but you don't speak much, because you know that my personal performance is not up to that mark what I can speak in the meeting, because there might be something where someone, a youngster or any player who's performing consistently, even from the management, might say that what's your performance, you need to, because he's under the radar system, I would say he needs to realize that, he needs to talk to himself, he needs to talk to the psychologist which is actually with the Pakistan team, what's going on, because it's not an easy job, again I would say, to captain the Pakistan team, because it's just not your Pakistan team. You have to captain the Pakistan media, you have to captain the Pakistan management, everything what's going on under Pakistan. So it's a tough job. For looking at his performance with an average of around 15 or 16 if I'm not wrong, that's not what you require from Shan Masood. You need to lead from the front, and like I told you, the track record what Pakistan has in Test cricket in South Africa, he would eagerly waiting to break that. And obviously when a team has won the ODI series against South Africa, against Australia, obviously as a human being, it comes into your mind that, okay, fine, even I need to make a mark over here. I need to be, as a captain, I need to be proactive. I need to win a series. So it's going to be a tough call for him, but Pakistan really need to, I would say, go with left and right arm combination as a fast bowler. They need to make some changes in the team.
Well, a lot of things are being put into context, and one of them is the utilization of Amir Jamal. So Kashif, if we look at the workload that has been given to him, two things now emanate straightly: that either he was unfit to bowl his quota of overs, which would have been necessary to preserve Abbas at the other end, and the second thing now which is being questioned is that maybe Shan didn't want him in the playing 11 and it might have been a forced change.
Let's talk the first thing. That can be a well said note by you, because we recently said and we recently came to know that he was injured previously and he couldn't get into the final 11 the last test we played. So having said and having carrying on with this notion, if he was unfit, unfortunately we haven't got any fast bowling option, a fast bowling all-rounder to play for Pakistan right now, and Amir Jamal is the obvious choice. This obvious choice becomes very obvious when we know that 2 or 3 of the top order batsmen are not scoring runs and one of them is the captain. So we have to prolong that batting lineup. If the top 3 or top 4 we've been scoring runs, we would have opted a specialist fast bowler in shape of Mir Hamza instead of Amir Jamal, and we would have said that Salman Ali Agha or Kamran Ghulam may be doing the odd duty of partnership breaker or maybe the 5th, 6th bowler. But as we know that the batting is struggling, so we wanted this batting to prolong until the 9th number, because Amir Jamal is coming at 9th, I guess, and we wanted a rounder to be there. So this was Amir Jamal's case. He was more of a batter who can bowl than a bowler who used to bat at 9. So this is where I think it's a curious case of Amir Jamal in the 11.
Now, if you look at South Africa's playing 11 that they've announced for the second test match, Kashif, it has about 4 changes now. They're going to debut Mapacha, who's a left-arm fast bowler, did pretty well in the one days. It's a great opportunity for the young 18-year-old to debut in a test match against Pakistan. Then, of course, they've rested Corbin Bosch, and they've brought in another change. But I think the bigger threat, because we're a big fan of left-arm spin in Pakistan, is that Keshav Maharaj is coming back into the side.
So when we talk about South Africa, there are certain forced changes. Corbin Bosch was not feeling well even in the very first test match he played. Although he scored a very quality innings that have decided the fate of the test match at the end, and he bowled very well, but he was not feeling well. Most probably the groin or the calf injury, I'm not sure. So that is a forced change. And we talk about Keshav Maharaj, he's always there. Just like Nathan Lyon have to play every test no matter what the surface is, and so does Keshav Maharaj. He will play every test match whenever he's fit and available, no matter what the surface South Africa is playing. So he's an automatic choice. One important thing when we talk about South Africa, since they've qualified for the World Test Championship final, they want to preserve their best for that final, also for the coming events, because like Pakistan, South Africa have got at least 8 to 9 players who fit and play all the formats of the game. So they want to preserve and they want to use that rotation policy for their fast bowlers and some of their batters too. So they can experiment, since they are 1-0 up in the series and also have qualified for the World Test Championship final. So they can take this test as a litmus test for the upcoming lot, and Waka is one of them, and he bowled superbly well in the white ball format. So most probably he'll be one guy to watch out for, because he's got that natural in dipper through the right-handed batsman.
Certainly, and now that of course brings us to Pakistan's domestic cricket, where the final of the Quaid-e-Azam Trophy is underway. It was of course day one where Sialkot opted to field first against Peshawar. Very interesting combination over there as well. Awais, how are you seeing this final being played at the UBL Sports Complex?
It's not the right time where I would say the finals is being played. Unfortunately, there were many scenarios which you had to cover, specifically the tournaments which were going on. But happy for Ahmad Butt specifically, because he's one of the candidates whom I literally speak a lot. I mean, a good all-rounder, but unfortunately was not able to represent Pakistan. On the other hand, if you talk about Sajid Khan leading the Peshawar team, I remember whenever he performs, he's not in the team. That's a landmark what everyone says on, but it's a great thing. But the real thing, the problem what I again feel is that Ahmed Bhai, it's the 65th or 66th, if I'm not wrong, the Quaid-e-Azam Trophy finals going on. It's a prime tournament, again not live telecast. That's the biggest thing. Secondly, from 66, I would say tournaments, what we have learnt, I mean, if I just go through the percentage, I think so we are just not at the 40% too, because every year we try to change something in the tournament, whether might be the wickets, whether might be by the balls. It's not a stable kind of a thing. We need to make it stabilized. We need to make it one thing what the other countries do on. But the players coming out from the trophy, I would say specifically Huraira, he has been consistently scoring runs. Then Shahzeb, the under-19 guy, he has been he has been scoring good runs in the domestic structure. It's time you need to look after these guys, because they're the future of Pakistan. How do you just tackle them? That's a big thing over here. But one thing for South Africa-Pakistan test match, I literally want some changes in the Pakistan team, because they have got many right-handers, and
Certainly.
South Africa have struggled against left-handers. So it will be important if Pakistan goes with Mir Hamza and Naseem Shah looks a little bit unfit. He really needs to have a little bit of rest.
Absolutely, a bit rusty there as well. But thank you very much, Kashif and Awais, for joining us. We go towards a short break. When we come back, we've got some more things to discuss. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Sports Extra. Now, of course, we move on to some more particular sports. Tennis in detail. Joining us in studios is sports expert Ali Mehdi. Assalamu alaikum, Ali. How are you?
Walaikum salam. I'm very well.
Thank you for joining us. Ali, what details would you like to give us regarding the Brisbane Open? I think on the very initial phases, we've had a major one where we see Novak Djokovic there as well and not being on the winning side.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a surprise. This is the first tournament of the year, the first ATP event on, obviously WTA event, 250. I mean, there are 4 titles. You have obviously the Grand Slams, the 1000, the 500, this is 250. So this is the first tournament of the year. It happens at this time of the year. And if you talk about it, the year has started off with a bang in the form of the Brisbane Open, where the mercurial Nick Kyrgios was actually teaming up with Novak Djokovic, and they were playing in the doubles. Nick Kyrgios, we know he's known to make outlandish statements over here. He partnered with Djokovic, but unfortunately they saw the wrong side. They saw the wrong side of things, and they actually lost. So it was a bit of a disappointment, but otherwise everything is normal. You have Anisimova on the women's side doing very well, and order itself has resumed. It's a new season. This is a new season. Let's not forget, this is the first time, Ahmed, in a 22 I would say 25 years that there's no Fidal, there's no Federer, there's no Nadal. So it's actually very difficult for like past tennis lovers to actually follow this. Yes, Novak Djokovic is still there, but the fact that Fidal is not over there in a new ATP season seems very surreal. But then again, we have the we have the Grand Slam champions who are back in action in the form of Carlos Alcaraz is there, Sinner is there, Novak Djokovic is there. First time in many years, I would say that since 2008 that he did not win a Grand Slam in a year. So
And for him to step on Australian soil without being vaccinated, I think that.
yeah, let's
that's
not
actually
forget
impressive.
that too. But the fact of the matter is that it's a new season. The Brisbane Open
Certainly.
is doing very well, and it's only the beginning of many things to come.
Absolutely. Now, of course, we move on to football as well, the English Premier League in detail. Joining us in studios is Mr. Taha Haider. Assalamu alaikum, Taha. How are you?
Walaikum Assalam, I'm very good.
Thank you very much for joining us. Taha, Arsenal have gotten off to a great end of their year as well. They managed to beat their opponents convincingly. How did you find that game?
Well, firstly, Arsenal coped well without their star boy Bukayo Saka, who we found out that he's going to be out for a few weeks to months. And without him, their main source of creativity will be missing. So they're going to have to rely on Odegaard and the youngster Ethan Nwaneri to step up and score, create chances for them, which I think they've coped well for the first game. But if they can maintain it, they can mount a title charge against Liverpool, who are quite a few points up. But they need to stop giving those silly errors, which cost them the first goal through Calafiori's error, and then Raya almost gave away a second goal to Brentford.
Well, we talked about this as well last season as well, that it was Arsenal's to lose, and that's what eventually happened. Going later on in the league, Arsenal was really suffering. But if you talk about Liverpool's campaign, they had a good end to the year. They beat their opponents 5-0. So that was also something that they'll fancy going into the next year.
Yeah, Liverpool beating West Ham 5-0. They beat West Ham in the Carabao Cup 5-1 as well. So they really enjoy playing against West Ham. And the other thing is, Liverpool have not slipped up except for the one game this season. Even with the red card, they showed more fight than any other team with 10 men in the game against Fulham, and they fought and gained a point. So I think this year it's Liverpool's title to lose, and if they can keep the season going as it is, they just need to not slip up massively to lose the title. Otherwise, it's in their hands.
Definitely. Well, Ali Mehdi, I think we've seen the world change. We've seen Hamilton going to Ferrari and joining there. But the only thing we've not seen being changed in the last year up till now is the fate of Manchester United. They had a hammering against Newcastle.
Hammering, and for the first time, as if you're a United fan, then nothing has been going right. You're talking about a team which is top to bottom has been absolute shambles, disaster. You talk about the owners, cutting costs. You have rats and mice in the over there in the kitchens, and the roof leaking. Everything is falling apart for Man United. Relegation team. You asked me about this 15-16 years, I would have laughed on your face. But look, United actually. You talk about it. You've got to give this manager time. He has a lot of problems. In the backroom staff, he has a lot of problems. He has a lot of problems with the fans too, with the players too. He needs some acquisitions too. It's a real mess right now. But I think what he needs to do is actually, like the great Cristiano Ronaldo said, that the storm will continue, but sooner rather than later the storm will finish, and when the storm finishes, the sun will rise. I think this season he's got to forget about things. He's got to finish in a respectable position, and if possible, which I doubt, is probably focus on a cup in the form of the Europa League, because FA Cup Arsenal will knock out United, and they're already out of the League Cup. To get a respectable position in the league and then focus on the future, because right now, if something needs to be done, you need to get rid of all this deadwood at Manchester United, on all these troublemakers. Trust this manager. I'm sick of seeing all these managers change. Give this guy an opportunity and he will deliver the goods. But at this moment, United fans and all the neutrals actually have to actually be patient, because United right now really, everybody needs to be patient.
Well, certainly, but what it does for Newcastle, considering that they're going to face in about 2 days' time Tottenham, and I think for their confidence fact and the way they're playing their football, that's going to be a very interesting game.
A very interesting game. Newcastle are playing, I mean, have been absolutely phenomenal in the form of Alexander Isak, who's been getting all the goals. Gordon has been doing extremely well too. They've got Jacob Murphy, who's playing very well. Their defense is doing okay, especially at home. Away, you know, they tend to struggle. But the fact of the matter, they are also a team which can push for those European places. Very respectable team. I think the manager has now settled in over there. So all is going well for them. But the fact of the matter is that, you know, you were just talking to Taha about the title. I think the title is done and dusted. I can't see anybody stopping Liverpool too. Arsenal, obviously, for that matter, you know, either going to finish second, but they had the opportunities, and unfortunately, Rizwan Bhai and Abdullah will have to suffer, whereas Taha will be crowned a new champion.
Well, Taha's the man of the house, I mean, after this campaign. But the fact is that, you know, I often am quoted saying this, people call it sane. The only thing that can ever save Manchester United will always be David Moyes and nobody else. That will be a statement, and I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, Ali Mehdi and Taha, for joining us. That wraps up Sports Extra. For me and the entire team, it's goodbye for now.